What up, bro? Got another episode of Evolving Through Experience where we discussing everything growth. Y'all know, evolving through experience mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, and beyond. Today we got another special guest, my guy, Javier. How you feeling, bro?
I feel great, man. I feel blessed to be here. Thank you, man. This is my first podcast. I appreciate you, bro.
Nah, I appreciate you, bro. I'm glad to have you on. Like I said, just from my initial conversations when I first told you about the brand. I mean, like from day 2 that I met you, and that's when I first told you. So day 1 still. You seen the vision, you embraced it, and it's like, yo, tell me like, yo, just pretty much inspired me to like make sure I continue with it. So I just want to give you your flowers off rip and say I appreciate it.
Yes, sir, bro. That's a lot of things I do. Like I like to hold people accountable and check in, make sure like you staying true to that vision. And you really did. Like the moment you told me that, bro, you started taking action.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, wow, bro.
Nah, appreciate
like,
it, bro.
I respect that because like you came in hard, like crazy, bro.
Nah, appreciate it, bro. Like I said, I had it since 2018. And I'm just saying this because I want people to understand, like, this is me being transparent. I had it since 2018. Obviously, I didn't stay consistent with it, not from the sense of just negligence, because I got caught up with other things that was also being productive. Right. But this is a form of therapy for me. So I was like, I can't just keep putting this off when I know I need it just as much as the world may need it as well. So I was like, yo, let's bring this back because, like I said, it's growth in every aspect from my life experiences and just growing from a mental, spiritual, and emotional standpoint. But nonetheless, about me, bro, we got you on, and that's what we were about to exactly talk about. I know we just had your sister, and we talking about behind the scenes. And when I say behind the scenes, more of those intangible works that are the true importance, the true glamour, the true lifestyle that really matters. Right. So let's just jump straight into it, bro.
For sure.
First, I'll let you say a little bit about yourself, and then I'll start asking the questions.
For sure. My name is Javier Elliott. I go by Fye Javi. That stands for your entertainment, for your education. Mm-hmm. And my whole thing is just teaching people that mindset is everything. Mm-hmm. Before you get anything in life, you have to work on your mindset. Think about it. Kobe, he had the best mindset in basketball. Before he achieved all those things, he had the greatest mindset. So I believe that if we change our mindsets, we can change our lives, and we have to put the action behind it too. And on top of that, what I do, like, to make my income, I'm a brand operator. So I help people with their brands, help people with create content and things of that nature.
Fire content, because I know that's actually how we met. That was the first time we met. You was making content for the whole group. Shout out to my brother, of course, Lawrence. Obviously, on his wedding, and we did a bachelor party, so you did the content for that. And then since then, you've been getting more content for us, me, and just pretty much just growing from there. So that's how I met you. So shout out to him first and foremost.
Yo, shout out.
Nah, for sure. I want to jump straight into it. So let's start with your life, bro. Okay. Obviously, we know what you do. Right. You just said that, but let's talk about what got you there. What's those intangibles? Let's start from wherever you feel comfortable.
If you really want to, bro, I can start from the beginning.
Let's do it, bro. We got time.
So like, let me just like quickly go through my upbringing. Mm-hmm. I was born and raised in Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Okay, yeah. J. Cole. Shout out to J. Cole.
Yeah, shout out to J. Cole.
Nah, fact.
All the greats came from North Carolina. Yeah. But yeah, I grew up in Fayetteville, North Carolina, in the country.
That's home too, yeah.
And my mom actually immigrated from Panama. Mm-hmm. And she met my dad. He's a country guy. His family's from the country in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And they divorced by the time I was 3. So I was growing up in a single mom household. And then I would see my dad like every once in a while on the weekend. And he would come and visit me at school sometimes. But I didn't see him that often. But one thing that he instilled in me was just like, just enjoying our time together. And he also did tell me that I could be a millionaire. He said that to me when I was like 4 years old. I remember that. And then on top of that, he instilled like working out in me and like just like those little things that really matter because fast forward a few years, my mom remarried my stepdad and we ended up moving away because he's in the military. So I ended up leaving my dad and my family, that side of my family, which was really hard for me at the time. I was about 6 years old. And then in leaving over there, I ended up having to go into a whole new environment, new people. I moved to Valdosta, Georgia. And then what happened was my dad at the time was sick. He had kidney failure. And my grandma actually donated one of her kidneys to him. So he stayed alive a few years extra. But then by the time I was 7, the one that my grandma donated to him ended up failing. So he he had already talked to me about this too when I was 6 years old. Right before I left, he said, Javier, I'm gonna die soon. And he told me that, and that actually that blew my mind at that young of an age, because I never heard anybody like that close to me talk like that. And I was like, I was crying. I was like, don't say that. You're not gonna die. And then he's like, I am. I have to. He really was like being real, just trying to prepare me. Because fast forward, when I was 7 in a whole nother state, I got a call from my grandma, and she was telling me that he was on life support. And then I had one more conversation with him. He could hear me, but he couldn't speak to me because of his situation. And then that's when it really clicked to me. I realized like life is very fickle sometimes. So that was like an early life-changing moment right there when he passed away at 7 years old. And then from there, I moved to New Mexico. I went through elementary school and middle school, and 1 year of high school. Then I moved to California. And then like I was just kind of like, going through the motions, playing basketball. I was still kind of like, I still had that entrepreneur dream inside of me, like that drive inside of me, because throughout my whole entire upbringing, I've been doing things like selling candy, picking up dog poop, helping out family members, doing all kinds of things to get extra money in. And by the time I was 15 years old, I went ahead and got a job being a bagger. So I'm just like fast forward from there. I'm like 17 years old. I want to go ahead and build a computer just because I know the power of having a computer. So I'm working at Popeyes at that time. I'm in school as well, playing basketball. Everybody is wondering why I'm working at Popeyes. But I was like, I'm trying to go ahead and get some money in. So I got the money in. I built me a computer, and I started streaming me playing video games at that time. Streaming, I was editing videos. So that's kind of how I got started into content creation. From that moment on. And then fast forward, I graduate. I took a gap year, and then I had to make another decision. I'm like, okay, where am I gonna go? And I decided that I was gonna come out here. My sister actually called me up. She was like, yo, there's a lot of opportunity out here. And I've been seeing what was going on out here in Atlanta. So I was like, it's a no-brainer. I came out here. I went to college for about a year and a half. And while I was in college, I was, working on my craft. And over time, it just became a no-brainer again to take that leap of faith. Correct. So that's how I got to the point I'm at now, in short.
Well, that was a lot, bro. First and foremost, I want to say my condolences for your pops, for sure, bro. Because there's so much I could take out of that, and I see exactly what you mean. Because I was telling you about the situation with my family and the kidney, so I know you were saying that briefly when we spoke outside of this like weeks ago. So I definitely just want to understand. Obviously, I understand a lot more now that the relation, the correlation, for sure. So with that being said, one, I would say what I know I can only imagine, and I know it's been times. I don't know if we was the same age, but I had a family member, my grandmother at the time, tell me something like that before too. Just like, cause I don't see her often too, cause she was living. I think she was living in Jersey at this time, if I'm not mistaken. And even before then, she always just say things like, "All right, tell me, pretty much just say later, see you later, or bye," because next time you may not see me again, stuff like that. And it's just like, I'm mad young, and like all my other brothers and siblings, they pretty much way older, and they not thinking much of it. But I'm around the youngest there, so I just start crying. She say something like that. My dad be like, "Mom, why you say that? You know this boy." Nah, just going on about it. But it's like I'm young, so I definitely could relate to that. So what was the mental? Obviously, we know the mental state of when you heard that. So at what point did you transition to pretty much be like, get to a place where you mentally was like, you understand it's normal, and you found peace with it? When would you say that happened?
So I would say like it's crazy because when I first found out about it, I was crying. I was very like distraught. And actually, right before we left, I went and saw my dad again. And my mom and my stepdad had to come and get me because it was time for us to go, and I didn't want to leave. And like I was like crying, screaming, telling them, no, don't take me away. And then they took me away. But what happened was, when I turned 6 and then when I turned 7, I had like, I guess I personally developed to the point where I could see like the bigger picture, like, okay, well, everybody is gonna die eventually. That's
Mhm.
kind of like what happened. Something clicked in me, and I was like, I just gotta enjoy like my time with my family. And then by the time it came to go to the funeral, I had no more tears to cry because I understood like that's a part of life, and my dad would want me to keep going strong. So like everybody was like kind of wondering why I wasn't crying by then, because like I had already cried it out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So my whole mindset shifted. I'm like, okay, well, that's a part of life.
Well, I would definitely want to say, bro, that's healthy. I'm glad you said it that way, because I know some people like the way you said it. It could be taken negative, but the way you did it was in a healthy aspect. Like you said, you cried all your tears. You got to a point where you understood that it's normal. Everybody's gonna go, not just like, well, everybody gonna die, so I don't care about life myself. Like you just, like you said, you took it where it's like, enjoy the moments while they're here.
And let me say one thing. My dad actually said one thing to me that day that really stuck with me until this day. He said it's gonna be okay because he's always gonna be right here in my heart, and that stuck with me. I'm like, you're right. Yeah, he is always gonna be right here.
Fact.
In my memory, in my heart,
spirit,
in spirit,
yeah. No, facts. I'm glad you said that, because I think, like I said, I know that's relatable for so many people, and death is hard. At the end of the day, we know it's normal. It's a transition, and I got to the point in my life where, like I said just before, I'm not afraid of it. Not in the sense of saying I'm ready to go or anybody around me, but I know it's normal. And like you said, taking those moments when they are here and truly enjoying it to the max, like spending that quality time. Because then at the end of the day, then you'll have all the memories of those people that you obviously love, your loved ones or whatnot, and you can live with that. And like you said, again, they're still here in spirit. They're still here in your heart and your mind or whatever. So all of those are vital, vital things. Yep. So just to double back and bring it back a little bit, I know you were saying coming up in a single mom household. From that standpoint, what were, obviously so many could relate, as such as myself as well. Obviously we had our dads in our lives, but it wasn't like on a daily basis. What would you say now, looking back? You can say, obviously, you don't feel like it's a bad thing now, but at that standpoint, what would you say, outside of what you was feeling, what would be the key things that pretty much helped you understand, like, not so much as this is normal, but I'm no different and I can still prevail, if that makes sense?
Yeah, like at first I thought I was like kind of feeling down when like my friends would talk about it's their dad's birthday, and I had like certain situations happen when people found out. I didn't even want to tell people that my dad passed away at a certain point, because like it became something that some people laughed about, and I didn't think it was funny.
Yeah, that's nothing funny.
Yeah, so I went a whole long time without even talking about it, because I'm like, there's no point in talking about it. People act weird about it, and like I kind of felt like I don't know, I lacked a little bit of confidence for a while because of that. But over time, I started to realize, like, nah, it shouldn't lower my confidence. If anything, I should just, walk powerfully for my dad, because I'm his legacy, so I should do that just for him, rather than feeling sorry about it.
Yeah.
So my whole mindset shifted from feeling sad about it and kind of being down on myself and kind of being passive to just like being confident and not being afraid to share that if it ever came up. Because if it came up before, like I would say when I was like in elementary school to middle school, I wouldn't even share it.
Yeah.
Because of certain things that happened.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I definitely don't find that funny. I don't even see how people found that funny. But just from a standpoint of, like you said, you finding your confidence, I think that's vital. What were some of the things outside of what you already said that he was instilling with you? Obviously, he wasn't with you on a day-to-day basis, and you said you'll see him on the weekends or whatever. But what are the other things that he was instilling in you that made you understand, like, yo, like I'm still one, he's still my father or whatnot. I'm still powerful, and that pretty much helped you continue to go forward, that he was instilling.
Okay, so I would say one thing, he instilled like basic push-ups. Like he taught me how to do push-ups. And I think that's so important because later on down the line, I was like researching calisthenics. And right now that's something I have in my regimen. I do calisthenics every single day. And that started from him teaching me how to do push-ups and like showing me how to do planks and showing me like the benefits of working out.
Yeah.
And then he also told me something that stuck with me. He said like basically that most people don't use their brain to the fullest capacity. And he was basically teaching me about the power of our mind. He said it like in a very simplistic way, but that always stuck with me. I'm like, wow, there is more to it than most people realize. So that's why I'm so big on mindset and mental health, because that's a part of me.
Correct. Yeah, and it's vital. I want to ask, at any point did you feel like, I wouldn't say feel away to him, but maybe, I guess for the lack of a better word, feel away or angry at him, being that you feel like he wasn't always there? And it's a reason I asked that, and I'll explain why.
No, I never actually felt angry or mad at him, because like I just understood like his life wasn't necessarily easy because his dad wasn't in his life either. It's just kind of like the cycle repeated itself. And then on top of that, now that I like look back, the reason why I'm not saying the reason why his kidney failure is because of this, but they didn't necessarily have the best lifestyle choices as far as like the food that they were eating and things like that. And now that I have like more knowledge about having a healthy lifestyle, I look at my other family members out there that have certain illnesses, and I'm like, okay, that's possibly the reason why he left, because he didn't have that knowledge. So I don't think about it like mad at him. I'm just like, I personally wish that he was more knowledgeable on like how to be healthier.
Correct.
Because they eat a lot of soul food over there, and it's really good. But it's really unhealthy.
Yeah, agree. And that's exactly like I told you before, why I had to change my lifestyle around. Like, obviously I don't feel like I was doing it to the point where it was bad, but it's not good at the end of the day. And if you continue, it's like it just builds up. Even if it's 1% worse, making your body worse, it's going to continue to get to 100%. And at what point do you be like, nah, I'm gonna stop? And like you said, we see the traction of where it's going, the trajectory. But when I was saying like mad at him, not from the sense of for passing away, but more in the sense of like feeling like, because obviously I know he got divorced from your mom, so you just feel like being that you had to go live with her. Did you ever feel away from that standpoint, like you should have been there helping me or being more present with me? That's what I meant when I said that as well.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Okay.
When you say that, I guess I could say no. I really wasn't. I was never mad at him, just because my mom always spoke well of him. She always allowed me to see him, and he always just kept it real with me and showed love. And I never was mad at him. I was always just sad about it.
Makes sense.
It was just very saddening at that time, because I'm like, I wanted to have like a normal family.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that was the emotion I was going through, was a lot of sadness. And then when he passed away, it got even worse. I got through a lot of sadness, but then I overcame that over time. But
correct.
It was really like a lot of just like kind of just being down on yourself, because like, it wasn't necessarily a good situation.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and like I said, I could definitely relate, because I kind of, reason I said that, because at some point I felt mad at my father. Like, I just feel like, bro, you not saying he wasn't present. I don't want to put that image out that he wasn't in my life, but I just feel like he was more. I just wish he was more present. He was there, but he wasn't as present as I felt he could be.
Gotcha.
So even to this day, that's even like a reason why, like, just pretty much every day I'm with my son to some degree. Like, I'm making sure he's straight. It's just like I feel like I have to be that father figure, that father that I didn't have to some degree. And like I said, that's no diss to him, because he was still in my life, but I just wish it was more of that. But from the standpoint of seeing your perspective, I'm glad you said that, because it just shows me, like, I'm glad you was at peace with it. And like you said, you just felt sad. It wasn't more angry. And that's the one thing I'm still evolving with and growing with to this day. So I just appreciate that transparency for sure.
And I'll say this, like you said, that motivated me to work on myself. Like, I know when I have a son or a daughter, I'm going to be fully present in their lives, hands down, 100%.
Correct.
And I'm gonna provide for them and make sure that they're good, and just kind of do better than my parents did.
Yeah.
Just real talk. I'm gonna do better.
Yeah, and that's as you should. I don't think that's nothing towards them. Like, I think I should be a better parent than my parents were, and I think they should want that. So I don't think there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
I don't think anybody should find something wrong with that. At the end of the day, it's not your bashing, but you're doing better as you should. I want my son to do way better than me.
Right.
And I just think that's the natural flow of how it should be.
Yeah.
So,
and that's one thing my dad said. He said, because I told my dad this. I said, Dad, I want to be like you. I want to be just like you. That's how much I admired my dad. He was like, no, I want you to be better than me. He kept on telling me that. He kept on telling me how much better I can be than him. Yeah. And that's why, like, now it's like my responsibility to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, I appreciate you sharing that, bro. Like you inspire me. I'll just how like you're hearing this, like I'm inspired by what you're saying as well, especially as being a father, even though I know you're not one yet. I just would appreciate hearing that because this is helping me just pretty much grow in those aspects of where I'm at. And not even just as a father, but just as a
Hmm.
person in general. So I greatly appreciate you sharing that story about your pops and everything. So just to bring it forward,
Okay.
so I know you said I know I see you moved around a lot. So as far as traveling, and
Yup.
when I say traveling, I mean as far as like transition, because
Yup.
you got your mom got remarried, so you was moving around. So
Right.
from that standpoint, what could you give a kid anywhere, a teen that's in that predicament? It's feeling like, oh, you're always moving around, so you may create a relationship here, but
Hmm.
now it's like now you're moving to the other side of the world. Now I got to create new relationships. What could you
Right.
give them to let them know not to also not feel lonely,
Right.
but to also just know like it's okay pretty much.
Right. The biggest thing I can give to them is just understanding that, no matter where you go, there's gonna
Mm-hmm.
be people for you and there's gonna be people that aren't for you.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to be able to relate to different kind of cultures, different
Mm-hmm.
kind of communities. Because if you go to somewhere different in the United States, there's gonna be a whole different culture over there. It's gonna be a
Mm-hmm.
whole different slang over there. You gotta learn how to adapt
Mm-hmm.
and to relate. So that's one of the things I think was a benefit, but I didn't realize it in the moment. I was just I was angry about that,
Mm-hmm.
about I had no choice in the matter. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
why do I have to leave my friends behind again? It happened like 3 times.
Yeah.
My best friend, I kept losing my
Yeah.
best friend. I'm like,
Three best friends gone. Nah,
yeah.
that's crazy.
And then it just came to a point where I was at peace with it. I'm like, okay, well, things come and go.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna just make more friends and along the journey. And I'm gonna stay in touch with those that
Mm-hmm.
are, still there. Sometimes you don't stay in touch.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had hundreds of friends. It was in the moment, it was like something I really was angry about. But then in retrospect, now I'm like, it really set me up to be an entrepreneur because I'm gonna be moving around a lot, meeting new people.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm able to relate to a lot of different people from
Mm-hmm.
different cultures. So it benefited me.
Mm-hmm. That's what I call that, bro. Evolving through experience. Like that, you see why I go hand in hand with everything. Like you said, all
Right.
those situations at the time it may feel like, yo, like this is the worst thing in the world. It's so many people that feel that same way from different aspects of life.
Right.
They may feel like they're in a certain situation right now, but
Right.
those situations are really preparing you for where you also need to be. And then when you get there, you look back and like, damn, like yo, I was like feeling like down and out at those moments, but now I realize, yo, these are the exact situations and experiences that helped me grow to who I am today and
Right.
ultimately who I'm going to be. So I'm
Right.
glad you said that because that's a prime example of what we're here to talk about. So
Yep.
all those situations of you feel like, man, I just lost my best friend 3 times and having to
Right.
meet new people, like you said, it prepared you for what you're doing now. And knowing how to adapt in these different environments because you're constantly going from one environment to another environment and it's like you
Yep.
having to learn to adapt, and that's just life. Life is going to require and have experiences that is going to require us to continue to adapt, and that
Right.
doesn't take nothing from us, but if anything, it adds to us,
Facts.
evolving through experience.
Facts.
So, but outside, so being that we speaking about that in your
Yep.
own words, what is evolving through experience?
Man, that's like a really heavy statement in my opinion. Evolving through experience.
Mm.
To me, that means just like kind of going through life as like from one perspective, but after you come through that, you have a whole new perspective and a whole new understanding to where now when you go up against the world, you have more skills, you have more ammo, you have more weapons. Like I'm not trying to like be violent, but I'm saying like
that's a
we have
fact
to go to
though.
war.
Yeah.
And when we go through life,
Mm-hmm.
those experiences that are hard are actually training us and making us stronger. So I think of it like as you evolve through experience, you're getting stronger, you're learning more, you're becoming more equipped to handle life. So that's really what I think it means. And I think it means that it just means growth. It means, to be simple, it means growth and it means getting better as a person.
Yeah. Hey man, I just want to say, man, that's actually a vital question I ask every single guest. That's the most important question in my opinion that I ask every guest.
Right.
And every time I hear each person's perspectives, they all mean the same thing, but the way y'all say it is just like I'm just amazed by it, and I appreciate y'all because all of y'all
Right.
add a different twist to it. From even with your sister, how she said like every guest has always said something different and not just something simple, but it's like the way I explain it, I'm just always amazed by. Like I'm gonna eventually make a clip of just each guest
Oh,
saying
wow.
that, and it's gonna be like 100 clips of just them saying that in different perspectives. I'm gonna
Wow.
switch it up, and it's just gonna be like, I just want people to see like that's really what it is.
Yeah.
Like I said, I started this platform so people could see no matter the space they're in, whether
Right.
that's physical, whether that's mental, whether that's spiritual, they
Right.
all go hand in hand.
Right.
They can understand like, yo, I could really overcome that. You know the scene in a Black Panther where T'Challa was getting his behind beat
Yep.
in the water,
Yep.
and you remember his mom was like, "Show them who you are." You remember
Yeah.
that part? Like the way she
Yep.
said it was just like, you really have to truly embody it to show them like, you're made for this.
Right.
You're made for this. So every experience we've been through, you've been through, I've been through, my
Right.
guests been through, it doesn't matter. You're
Right.
made for it. And I want people to know that because I know some people could get to a place in life and I'm guilty of it too, just feeling like I don't know how I'm gonna get through it. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to continue to get. I don't even know if I want to continue to go
Right.
through it. And that's like the real most important things I want people to see. Like,
Right.
yo, like if I can inspire you 1% to show you that, yo, you could keep going. If I could have somebody that could relate to your story in any
Yup.
capacity, I want them to see like, yo, you can keep going. Like,
Yup.
don't give up. And not giving up from a standpoint like you trying to chase your dream, but don't give up from a standpoint of a mental, spiritual,
Right.
emotional standpoint, and understand like you're gonna prevail to the other side.
Facts. And let me just speak on that mental side because I have a thing where in every aspect of life, you can look at everything from a negative perspective, but vice versa. You can you can take the positive out of everything. It could be a bad situation, but you can choose to take the positive out of it and, keep going. See, that's my mindset as far as like going through. There are no problems. Like, yeah, bad things can happen from a certain perspective, but vice versa. You can take the good from it and just continue to get better. Because at the end of the day, we can't control what happens outside, but we can control how we perceive things. We can control how we respond to certain things, and that's the hardest part. But if you can, respond to things positively, it's gonna help you out along the journey because things are gonna happen 100%.
Facts. So what's another intangible? Well, you get, I guess, intangible or pretty much experience. So I guess
Okay.
both. Experience that had a huge impact on your life. Outside of what you already said, what's another one that had a huge impact on your life? Obviously for the better.
Okay, a huge impact on my life for the better. I would say when the pandemic hit, I'll talk about that. I went through like a series of, I guess you could say, like having to find myself. I had like almost like an early life crisis because I was trying to decide what I was gonna do with my life. I wasn't sure if I was gonna go into the military, go that route because that's what I've been around, or go to a community college in California because all my friends were going there, or if I was gonna come out here to Atlanta. I was starting to have decision fatigue because I was thinking about all the different possibilities and I wasn't sure. I was trying to figure out what's the best move for me, and then it caused me to kind of like go into a shell because that was I was actually gonna go to community college, but then the pandemic happened, so I was like, let me take a step back and go to school online, and that was like the best decision I ever made. It forced me to isolate from everything. I had to be completely isolated. I was in my house studying, and just kind of like finding myself. And then after about 6 months, I completed the online course for IT, and I was like, wow, I'm really good at this. So I decided like I'm gonna go to school for this. But little did I know, I was actually going to kind of have an epiphany that there's other ways to make money too. Like you don't just have to go to school. Like the route that everybody was telling me, which was just go to school, get a job, or go into the military. Those routes are valid, but those aren't the only routes, and they're probably not the best route for me. I realized that, and I'm like, okay, I need to start figuring things out. So I started watching all kinds of motivational videos, educational videos, just hours on YouTube learning. And then that's what led me to get into content creation. Yeah, man, that was the epiphany moment right there, like one of the early epiphany moments. And I would say the second one would be I went to InvestFest, and then that changed my life again because I was talking with this girl named I can't remember, Sparkle. Yeah, shout out to Sparkle, because I was telling her about how I wanted to like go all in with my content creation journey, but I was just like not having any lead flow, any clients. and I wasn't able to like kind of package my value. And then she kind of like walked me through it and helped me, build up some confidence. And then she was like, yeah, just come to this real estate event and let me show you how valuable you are. So I went to the real estate event, and then like 5 people were telling me they need my services. And I'm like, wow, this is actually something that people need. And then from there, I had the confidence to keep on going.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, I started creating content, learning. I learned more about business, how to portray myself, how to package my offer, and things of that nature. And then as I started to progress, it got to the point where like I gotta leave work. Because I was a server. It got to the point where I had to leave because either I was gonna miss out on more opportunities, keep passing over opportunities repeatedly, and remain poor, or I was going to take that leap of faith and continue to get more. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So that's what happened. I left, and then a lot of things happened from there. That was a turning point.
Yeah.
InvestFest last year was crazy.
Bro, it's so much I could take out of that. But first, I want to start, like you said, the pandemic was a vital point, and that was a vital point for me as well.
Yeah.
Like you said, you was in a place where you was just like trying to figure out which route you was going to take.
Right.
And I keep forgetting. Don't take this the wrong way. I keep forgetting that you 21, right?
Yeah.
So I know because you obviously move mature, not in the sense you old, but you're mature. So you kept saying that. I'm like, wait, I kept throwing it up, but I do know we spoke about that before. So I know you just turned 21. So happy belated for sure.
Thank
again.
you. Thank you.
So the pandemic, I know that's so vital for everybody. Like you said, you was trying to figure out so much. Like you said, you was pulled in so many different directions. I know from a mental standpoint, so many people was there too. Whether should I go to school? Should I leave school? I was like in school at that time too, and it was just a time where like I don't want to say this wrong, but it felt like prison to some degree. It was like nothing you can do. Obviously, Atlanta stayed open, but it was just like everything. You feel like you couldn't really go nowhere. It was like a standpoint where mentally the strongest people were going through it, if that makes sense, because I think you only go through stuff because you can handle it. So that's why I say that. So people was dealing with that because I know I was. It just felt like it's nothing else to do. I'm waking up. I'm in the house all day.
Right.
So it's just like they made it seem like you go outside, like you're gonna die, you're gonna fall out. Like, bro, it wasn't even that serious. But just from a standpoint, what were some things that you had to do? Obviously, I felt working out was like therapeutic for me during the pandemic. Like I had to create a regimen. I'll work out. I'll eat. And then I'll get to business, like, because at that time, that's when I like really started my real estate, and that's when like I had like it was my first, like I stayed consistent, and I mean it wasn't a year I got my biggest check, but it was like a year I got one of the biggest checks and whatnot. So it was just like, bro, like I was like, yeah, this is it, like so. But it came from locking in, from mentally getting myself prepared. So what was one of the few things that you did to do that for yourself?
So I guess one of the things that I did to kind of get through that was I started taking cold showers in the morning. So like I was just trying to try new things because I was like, I need to do something. So that actually was a beneficial thing. I don't do that anymore, but I did it in that moment just because I wanted to have a change early in the morning, and I got energized from that. Another thing I did was I started doing calisthenics. I started researching different routines, and I was just doing push-ups, sit-ups, squats, all kinds of calisthenics almost every single day. I started running, so I started like getting good exercising. On top of that, I was working at the time, but outside of work, I was learning about content creation. And then on top of that, one thing that really helped me, I was writing a lot every single day. I was writing poems, writing my thoughts. Every single day. I made it a routine to wake up and write. And it helped me just get so much clarity.
Yeah.
I didn't even know like writing your thoughts down is that powerful.
Yeah.
So that was like the number one thing, writing.
What would you say introduced you to writing?
Well, I like poetry and I like music. So like shout out to J. Cole. He's one of my favorite rappers.
I mean, he should be respectfully. I'm just saying.
So like I just started writing poems, like trying to come up with some bars, and it was like things that was going on in my head. Like I was expressing my demons. Like I'm like, okay, why do I feel like this? What's going on? Like, cause I felt like I started to have a real epiphanies. Like I felt like I've been told lies. Like I've started realizing like the school system was not necessarily my had my best interest at heart.
Correct.
I'm like trying to figure out why we didn't learn financial literacy.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't I know how to use credit?
Mm-hmm.
Like those are the questions I'm asking at 18 years old. I'm like, why do I not know how to long-term invest?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I not know about compound interest?
Correct.
Why do I have to figure that out on my own? And how come when I come to my parents, and I'm not no shade to my parents, but when I came to them and asked them about those things, I didn't get that many answers. So
Correct.
it kind of left me in a point where I was like feeling a little bit overwhelmed, and I just started to write it out.
Correct.
And then I got more clarity.
Bro, I'm glad, man. I want to give you your flowers because I was introduced to writing at a young age, journaling, and I seen the power it has helped me. So I've been doing that for a while. Like, I think if I'm without dragging it, I feel like probably 2014, 2015 is when I first started.
Wow.
And since then, like, not saying I do it every day since then, but for the most part, staying consistent. I may miss a month, several months, and then get back, but I can go back now and I can see my progress over the years. And like you said, it definitely brings a level of clarity. It's a level of therapy. It's a level of meditation too that comes with it too. And you see all these different benefits. And I'm glad you said that because I think a lot of children don't realize they should question things. And I realized from me at a young age, I questioned a lot of things. Whether people see it or not, I questioned a lot of things. And I look back and I always wonder why I didn't get certain answers or why I was pushed away from questioning certain things. But in the day, we should question everything. I actually have a shirt that says F society beliefs because obviously beliefs lies in the middle of beliefs. So like if I'm going to believe something, I don't want the lies in it. I want it to be what I truly see and my vision, whatever that may be. So I think we have to question these beliefs because society has lied to us on several things. They put these beliefs, but within beliefs is lies. So I always said F society beliefs. I actually made a shirt for that because it's like, I don't think we should sugarcoat it because like you said, you get to this age or you get to an age in certain ages. It's even people, and no shame to them, that's 40 and still don't even know this stuff. Because this is intentionally, for one, we know it's intentionally not told, but it's like, bro, I can't sugarcoat this no more. F society beliefs, like I said, because if we don't change the stigma, and the narrative, bro, it's going to continue.
And let me speak on that real quick. Society beliefs, like, if you don't change that stigma or change those beliefs, those are actually mental chains because people think that these are the only thing. People think that society, the way it is right now, is how things are supposed to be. But you got to think, like, I seen a video where it was saying that somebody just like you created all of these rules. So who's to say that he's human or they're human? Who's to say that they didn't have it all wrong? Not saying that it is all wrong, but we can question it and we can think about how it can be better rather than just going along with it blindly and just letting things happen.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So that's when I started to start thinking real critically about everything. I started thinking about, wow, I started just questioning everything. I started thinking like, okay, does it make sense to eat Pop-Tarts in the morning? Because I used to eat Pop-Tarts every morning.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nah, it really don't make no sense.
Nah, fact. What benefits do Pop-Tarts even have, if any?
I don't know.
Probably not. Probably none. Yeah, probably none. That's funny you said Pop-Tarts.
Just things like that. I started questioning everything.
Yeah. No, as you should. Like I said, I think if we don't question these things, we wind up in the situation. It's like you get to a place in life, it's like, why did I do this for the last 10 years of my life and it hasn't benefited me in any capacity? It hasn't benefited me in a positive capacity. It's only made things worse for me from a mental health, from a mental standpoint, a health standpoint, a physical standpoint, a spiritual standpoint, and beyond. It's just like, I don't see why we would continue this. So I'm glad you said that. What's one book you can say that really helped you pretty much get to a place where you're at today? Obviously, it's so many books I know you probably read, and I have too. But what is one book you could think of right now that truly has helped you evolve?
Okay. Believe it or not, Atomic Habits was like an early book I read.
Your sister just said that.
Helped me. We read it at the same time. So we were reading books together at the same time for a little bit. And that was like one of the books we read at the top of 2022. And that pushed me to like make so much progress in that first quarter of the year. Like, I never been so productive ever because I understood how to change my habits. And then that led me to start studying what a paradigm is and start studying why people get stuck doing the same thing for years and years and years and years. And I went down a rabbit hole, and I was like, wow, mindset is everything, and everything starts up here. Everything that is in this room was created first up here. And I'm like, wow, like you really, like, it's really, really important to renew your mind every single day and to stay focused. Like if you get lost in the weeds of life and all the distractions, a year will go by fast. So that's kept me so focused after reading that book. Yeah.
Hey, bro, I commend you again because I'm glad. I need to actually get that book. I've heard about it several times. There's so many other books. I have like a library of books that I've some I already read, and then some like every time I hear a new book, I'll write it down. I believe that's in my list for sure. Because every time somebody tell me a new book, I have like I have a notebook strictly dedicated to other books I need to get. And I just get them over time. And obviously, I've been getting several books. So I'm glad you said that. And your sister said it. So I'm definitely going to make sure I go get that ASAP.
Yeah, I always recommend Atomic Habits just because, in my opinion, that's probably one of the easiest reads, bro. Like, it's the letters are bigger, in my opinion. He doesn't, like, overcomplicate things. He keeps things super simple. And one thing that I can take away from that book and just kind of tell you is the power of compounding interest on yourself, like in the daily habits you do. That compounds because not only do you get better and it gets easier for you, it also is just it's adding. Even if it's 1% better, it's adding on top of it. So to the point where if you get 1% better every single day, by the end of the year, that's like 37 times. Just over compound interest.
Facts.
And that's the power of investing in yourself, compound interest. And from doing that, that's what led me to, you know, become an entrepreneur. I was working on it every single day. Even if it was just like 30 minutes to an hour every single day, I made sure, like, I need to do this every single day no matter what, if I want it.
And that goes back to you seeing your vision, because I remember when you was working at Popeyes, everybody like, why are you working at Popeyes? But you have a vision, and whether nobody else sees it, that's what matters. You following through with it and understanding the value you're going to grab out of each experience you have. So that's just another example. I never said this, but I'm glad you said the mindset, because that's exactly, like I said, I started off with focusing on mindset and mental health, but as you evolve, you realize it's so much more than just that. That's exactly why I started with crowns, like the hats. I started with that because I'm just like, I got to a place in my life, I'm just like, I'm sitting back and I'm thinking like, yo, like some of this stuff is like, we so desensitized to certain stuff. We like, dang, that's normal. But I sit back and I digest like, yeah, I've really been able to overcome all this, witness all of this. And I'm just like, from a mental standpoint, I'm just like, all of this obviously made me who I am today. But at the end of the day, if I continue to shape my mindset and take care of my mental and my mind, I see where I can overcome anything. So I'm like, yo, this makes sense, and I want people to understand. That's exactly why I started with just crowns. I didn't do no shirts. I didn't do no hoodies. I'm like, yo, the mindset, if you take care of this right here, the temple up here, bro, I promise you, life will just be, I ain't going to say it's going to be easy, but it will be easy because you understand the power you hold from within yourself, and you see like, yo, all this plays a part. So, yeah.
I believe that we're all creators. Everything that we have in our life, I believe that we played a role in creating it. And that's the God power within us. The Most High God gave us that power to have free will, in my opinion. So like that's why I go so hard about developing the mindset, developing myself every single day, because I feel like that's what I was put on this planet to do, to get free. Like our people, I know, like we were taught that we came from slavery and everything. That's all I was taught in school, at least. But realistically, we came from a lot more than that. And I'm still learning about all this because, you know, it was a mind shot. It was a mind blow when I found out like there's so much more. There's so much more information out there, and my responsibility is just to keep on elevating myself and just learning more.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
I want to say, have you seen Hidden Colors?
Nah, I've never seen it.
Never seen. You heard of it though?
Nah, I've never heard of it either.
Okay, it's a documentary. I definitely want you to check it out. I think you'll enjoy it for sure. It's like probably 6 parts now.
Oh wow!
And like part one could probably be 4 hours alone.
Oh wow!
So yeah, so I seen that young. So it's like it really has helped shape a lot of things and me question a lot of things that I already questioned, and just pretty much expand my mindset. Whether you agree with everything that's said in it, it still allows you to question certain things that quote unquote we're not supposed to question, but I
Right.
think everything should be questioned.
Right.
With that, I know you said so you was thinking about going to college. Did you wind up going to community college? Or you did?
Okay, so I actually went to a private university in
Okay.
Atlanta. So it's
Okay.
called Life University.
Okay.
And yeah, the crazy thing is I went there to study IT,
Mm-hmm.
and I was okay with it. I was doing really well actually. But then I realized like really soon, like after a few months, like I realized like this is just a stepping stone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm spending most of my time studying entrepreneurship inside of school, but I'm doing well in school. But most of my time is going to me working and studying, working and studying. So I really didn't go to any kind of college parties. I went to a few at the beginning, and I instantly realized, yeah, this is not for me.
Correct.
I enjoyed it. I'm like, yeah, I really want to do other things with my time. So I just got real disciplined. I was working out every single day, studying about health, studying about, because I wanted to keep myself in high energy at all times so I could keep moving, keep staying productive. And I didn't want to miss like going to work or miss school for any reason and miss the gym. I wanted to make sure I was high energy. So I was eating like 2 meals a day. I was eating one like high protein meal. Really I was eating like a plant-based meal. And it was working for me, to say the least. And that really what led me to start doing like vegetarianism, because I learned like you actually, because at first I thought that you needed meat to survive, and I realized you really don't. And that was something that we were told. So like you said, F society beliefs, that was something that when I did that, a lot of people that were around me were super confused, but I didn't care. I was like, yeah, this is what's working for me.
Facts. Exactly.
That's literally what I said. And a lot of people, some people were cool with it. Some people were like, that's weird. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, I had so much confidence in what I was doing, though. I didn't care.
Yeah. And I think everybody needs to get to a place in life where they get so much confidence, they don't care what nobody else think. Because at the end of the day, your path is your path, your vision is your vision, and it's meant for you. Because when you get to the end of the tunnel, everybody gonna see it was worth it. But the most important person that's gonna see it was worth it is the person that's seen it from the beginning, which is yourself, because you're the one that started on that path. So I'm glad you said that. And with that being said, during that time, I know you said obviously a lot of people thought it was weird, but from you focusing so much like that, let's talk about the friend group that you had around you at that time, if any, as far as you locking in, not wanting to go to parties, not wanting to indulge in drinking or whatever, everything going on in the partying scene every single day, turning up. What was the people around you saying?
So I just started getting a lot of opportunities thrown my way. Like some of the higher ups at the school were taking notice they would see me show up every single day some of them would see me going to the gym every single day. They would see me just in the library studying. They would see me just kind of just taking care of business every single day. And my grades are really good. So I got offered a scholarship that covered half of my tuition by God's grace, and that freed me up a lot to start focusing more on entrepreneurship, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I was grateful for it for school, but
facts.
I'm like, this is what's gonna let me like take things to the next level.
Level up.
And then also the ROC in my dorms, he took notice too. He seen that I was kind of being a leader. He offered me to apply for RA, and then I got it. So you know what an RA is? A residence
free
system.
housing, pretty much.
Free housing. So that freed me up even more.
Yeah.
And I'm working too as a
like
server.
freed up.
I'm getting freed up. So I'm taking that time to now like, okay, now I need to start developing high level skills. And I was like, okay, I already know how to create content and I know about investing. So those are the two things I started to focus on and start learning about. And then another thing, like the friends, like you said, people started taking notice that I came here as a new student that didn't have really much going on. I got a job, and then I started to get these other opportunities. And every time people came around me, I had something positive to say. I'm like, yo, I just got this scholarship. Yo, I'm doing this now.
Yeah.
I was just staying in motion. I'm like, if I just keep working, I'll get, because it was kind of a hard time when I'm coming into college, no college fund, no money. That's why I had to work. So I'm like, I'm just going to put my head down and go to work for real and get disciplined. And that's what, like, I made a decision. I'm like, I'm going to be the most disciplined I've ever been in my life. And I'm going to see how that feels. And it felt really good, too, because people respected it. So, like, I had people that were in the gym. I had friends that wanted to work out with me. I had friends that wanted to study with me. Every habit that I had or every activity I was participating in, people were were coming to me, and I was like, this is cool. And then over time, like getting into entrepreneurship, there was other people that were interested in that. And then, as I got more serious in it, I had to, keep going. And those people, they're still friends that I text every once in a while, but they're not like people that are like actively hanging out on a day-to-day basis anymore.
Because the elevation.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you said that, because I think people need to get to the point where we understand that's okay.
Yeah.
I think just even from any relationship, whether that's marriage, whether that's boyfriend and girlfriend, no matter, relationship in general, it gets to a point where you outgrow people. Not saying in a sense you're better than them. Right. We're not getting into that. But in the day, it's from a standpoint like you're both growing separate ways. They may be growing left up, and you may be growing right up. At the end of the day, y'all both growing. It's not so much saying, oh, you're growing better than them. Y'all just growing apart, and that's okay. Right. I think that's needed in life, because elevation requires separation. But again, it's not in a sense of a negative thing. It's just like that's just what it is. At the end of the day, a root from a flower, the flower doesn't stay inside the root. It needs to grow in order to elevate. So it has to separate, but that doesn't mean it doesn't play an important role. The root is definitely just as important as the tree at the top. So I just think that's just a vital standpoint as well. I want to say, obviously, I guess this is already said. Who's your favorite artist?
Well, my favorite artist of all time,
it got to be J. Cole. Say
I say that's my favorite rapper. Okay, but like favorite artist.
True.
Man, that's tough because like there's a lot of great artists out there.
Agree.
Man, I would say that my favorite artist, I respect Michael Jackson a lot. Like as far as like, Michael Jackson would be my favorite artist.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I like that. And the reason I asked that, because Michael was definitely smart. You could tell a lot about somebody by the person they listen to, music they listen to, and obviously Cole being your favorite rapper, that obviously says a lot. I don't know if that's biased though, because you're from Fayetteville.
It's a little bit biased.
It's a little biased, but hey, it's
he's
respectable
great,
bias. Yeah, Cole is really that guy. So I like that, because again, the reason I asked that, because the frequency you frequent becomes who you are. So obviously Cole is a more of a person. Speaking about positivity, growth in every aspect, I personally think obviously it's a balance on it, but for the most part, Cole is somebody that people should listen to more, because he obviously opens up to conversations and frequencies that I think everybody should indulge in to some degree, because it's just elevation.
Right, and that's why I tune into a lot of elevation, a lot of growth, because I feel like I'm in a stage in my life where all I want to do is just grow into the person I'm supposed to be. And obviously I'm gonna take a step back and enjoy the moments and enjoy my flowers, but I'm in a stage where I'm young, I got a lot of energy, and I have a vision. So all I'm doing, most of my days is me trying to bring that to life. Not trying, but actually acting on the vision and writing out plans and taking action, and then learning and then taking that knowledge and applying it every single day. So like I believe what you tune into, you turn into. So that's why I tune into like things that are elevating me. Simple as that.
No, facts, bro. Well, no, definitely grateful to have you on, bro. It was so much that we definitely just covered, and even from your story. Because again, it just goes back to hand in hand. Like, it's growth in every aspect. Like I said, I know you're more of behind the camera, but it's like the behind the camera, what we wanted to focus on today is those intangibles, because I don't think this is something you share with people a lot. But these are what really makes you the person you are today, the genuine person you are, the person that's making you into the person you ultimately meant to be, and just a level of greatness all around. I want to ask you this too.
Okay.
Where do you see yourself in the next, let's say 6 years? I know everybody loves the word 5, the number 5, but let's say 6. Where are you gonna be? Not where you see yourself, but it's where you're gonna be.
6 years from now, I can see myself traveling a lot. I can see myself having built successful companies. I can see myself building a legacy for my family, changing my family trajectory, my family tree. I can see myself doing things that are going to be giving back and creating impact. I can see myself solving problems, because that's my mindset. I have a solution mindset. You know what I'm saying? So solving problems is something I want to be a big part of, whether that's me coming up with new systems, coming up with new schools, just creating new ideas and tapping into my creativity to do that. And yeah, that's what I believe. I believe that it's about growth. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm gonna be doing, is just constantly looking for ways I can add value to the world.
Facts.
6 years from now, I'm gonna be traveling. I'm gonna be well invested. I'm gonna be growing my company or have sold it.
Mm.
I'm, you know, I'll say I got a 10-year plan to sell
Yeah.
my company.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be in my company, growing it and giving people job opportunities,
Facts.
creating scholarships for people. That's what I'm gonna be doing in 6 years.
I like that. Hey,
Dope.
you left one thing out though, bro. You know what that was? Being part of the ETE family.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Hey, it's definitely gonna be there, and I don't
Yes,
say that
sir.
lightly, bro, because just from our previous conversations, obviously it's always been insightful, and I appreciate you. I know I say it, but I just want you to know.
And I
genuinely,
got one
appreciate
question for
Oh,
you.
go ahead.
So
Oh, this an interview on me now? All right.
no, just real quick, just
Nah,
one
you
question.
good.
I
Go
want to
ahead.
flip it around real quick. So, like, in your life, what would you say like has got you to evolve like better? Like, what has led you to evolve more?
Whew. I wish I could just say one answer, bro, because again, evolving is a continuous process. That's why I left ing, because I want people to know
Right.
it never stops. But if I had to pick one recently, bro, honestly, I would say becoming a father, bro.
Wow.
That's the most recent and biggest one. That's I could if I anytime somebody asks me that, the first thing I'm gonna think of is like being a father, bro. Like
Right.
I wish I could explain it in words. I don't think anybody really understands it until you are in that position or
Right.
until you become one. But for the ones that can relate, just understand it. Becoming a father, whether you got a daughter, whether you got a son,
Wow.
just that feeling of accomplishment, that feeling of just I don't even know, like peace, amazement,
Right.
all the above that your child brings to you,
Right.
and what it does for you just as much as you want to do for them.
Right.
It's like it's indescribable, and I would say that's the one that has made me like, yo, like I can't play no more. Not that I was playing before, because obviously I've been focused on what I wanted since very young, I would say. Because like I've been in the entrepreneur spirit for a while and just
Right.
focusing on it. But even before I had him, having success in business or whatnot, it was just
Right.
like, bro, having him is like, bro, like
Mm.
all gloves is off. Like ain't no more excuses. If I say I'm doing, like I don't have no shame in nothing now.
Right.
So it was just like I'm just gonna do it, because I'm not gonna come home to him and let him know I failed. Like that's not an option. And if I'm the one that's setting the example, I have to lead by example to show him like you're supposed to do better than me.
Right.
So even
that.
just going back to Black Panther,
Right.
just like obviously how his father said to T'Challa father when he went to the mother plains, he was just like, if I didn't prepare you, then I failed. So
Right.
understanding like my preparation is already here. It was before he was thought of.
Right.
He was always thought of to some degree, but
Right.
I always knew I would have a child. But before he was thought of, and then once he was thought of, and then he's here, it's
Right.
like these are all vital things that play into the preparation for when it's my time to transition, that he's going to be set up. And I would say that is the biggest thing that has
Right.
like the most impact on me evolving to today.
Powerful, bro.
Yeah.
Wow. That's big. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
appreciate
big.
it, bro. Where can people follow you at, bro?
Yes,
I'm
sir.
gonna put it at the bottom too.
Yes, sir. You can follow me on all platforms, FYEJAVI. And I want to just say that I'm coming out with a book called The Power of Discipline. So it's a mindset book. It's going to help you develop discipline within yourself and just be able to go after your goals harder. So I really am hyped about that. So check me out on YouTube, and you'll see that in the link in my description. And also, I want to leave people with one thing. No matter what you're going through, focus more on resolving and not revolving. Because if you're revolving, you're not evolving.
I like that. It might even be the name of the episode. Well, definitely send me an invoice for that book, because I definitely want to be the one to copy or purchase. Get one of the first ones.
Got
So
you.
yeah, if y'all enjoyed another episode of Evolving Through Experience, y'all know where to follow us at. Check us out on all platforms. Again, evolving is the only option. It's life or death when I say that. It really is. If you're not evolving, like you said, you're dissolving. So either way you put it, you better evolve. And if you haven't started, it's okay. Today's a great day to start. I don't want nobody to feel like if they haven't evolved to where they are today, that's okay. I want you to know that today is a great day to start. So no matter where you are in life, you can start today. You're never too young, you're never too old, you're never too in the middle. So just start evolving. And like I said, y'all can follow us on all platforms. If you
Yes,
gain
sir.
something from this episode, make sure you follow us. Make sure you share it with somebody. Share it with your friend. Watch it again. No matter what you need to do, just understand evolving is the only option. So again, check us out on evolvingthroughexperience.com and all
Yes, sir.
platforms. Peace.